Hey ladies, I'm not your average church girl. I am leading Lady Lockridge, and I am the founder and the leader of Not Your Average Church Girl. So for those of you, this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm excited that you're here. This past weekend, we talked about one of our principles, refrain from gossip. And I basically apologized on behalf of women who are in the church who may have hurt you, or your family or loved ones who profess Christ but really didn't show it outside the four walls. And I apologize on behalf of all of us. And we talked about a lot. So if you missed that, the two biggest things that we talked about is gossip tends to happen. What the Lord continues to show me is with undealt offenses. So you don't deal with the situation, you go talk to somebody else about it, and it spreads. Or someone makes a mistake and it becomes the talk of the church or the town, whatever the case may be. So tonight, this one is titled, He Wasn't the One. He wasn't the one. And so first I want to say that it's extremely important when you go through a breakup that you take the time to heal. And what I'm saying is not anything you've never heard before. But I think a lot of times we say it, but we don't do it. And we end up falling into the arms of one of our male friends. We end up falling into the arms of someone from our past. We might even go back to the same person who we broke up with or are no longer exclusive with. And so the first thing I want to say is heal. And a lot of times we don't heal, or we don't want to, because that requires us to look at ourselves and to look at how it ended, why it ended, what you could have done differently. And a lot of times we're always looking at the other person and not necessarily taking account of what we've done. Now, of course, you might be thinking, oh, well, he cheated on me. He lied to me. He wasn't consistent. He wasn't loyal. I understand that. I completely understand that. Hey, Dari, shout out to DYC. I completely understand what you're saying. Yet at the same time, we only let people get away with what we allow. And sometimes we allow their circumstances or their excuses to be reasons why we don't say, no, actually, I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm not going to tolerate this. And we don't say it because we're trying to be sweet, kind, whatever the case may be. So first, heal, sis. Okay. Make sure you take time to yourself. Think about the warning signs that you saw that maybe you ignored. Think about the things that he said or did that you didn't address when they first came up. Think about the length of time that you gave him. Think about maybe you should have gave more time. There's multiple reasons to breakups, right? And so tonight, one of the things that I wanted to focus on is spiritual compatibility. And a lot of times we get stuck in what we see on social media, people posting, I'm engaged, especially this season, like Corona. A lot of people have gotten married, and a lot of them already had, their dates, last year. But then there's quite a few people who are now in relationships, whatever the case may be. And so we get really caught up on people's statuses and what we see. And I mentioned in my book, He's on the Way. In the meantime, pray and prepare. I mentioned that a lot of times we're sold a lie and we assume things and we really don't know the background story. And so one of the things that we have to remember is to not compare where we are to someone else, to not compare where we are. And a lot of times we haven't really dealt with these issues and these hurt issues and the things of the past. And if Mr. Right, I believe on the Ruth and Boaz page, we posted, like, if your person approached you today, would you be ready? Would you be completely ready to accept that person? A lot of us would like to say yes, but the reality is that if we haven't dealt with the toxic things that continuously happen to us, or we haven't broke cycles from the past, this person who comes to us could be like legitimately perfect. Granted, no one is perfect, but perfect for us. And we basically allow our past experiences to push them away. And it is so important that you deal with you before, because you don't want to miss out on the blessing that God has for you. And so, like I said, I wanted to focus on spiritual compatibility. And a lot of times, like I said, we look at things that we see on social media, we compare where we are to other people, and we get frustrated. And so I wanted to encourage you all tonight, those who are watching and those who watch the replay, that it's at this place where we are, we have to be honest with ourselves where we are spiritually and know where we're growing. And a lot of times, like, you may be at the church, working in the church. Maybe you're the girl who works the altar. Maybe you're ministering. Maybe you're a psalmist. Maybe you may be doing multiple different things. And you see where you are now, but you don't recognize that you're going to continue to grow spiritually. And you need someone who can deal with your capacity of where you're going. You need someone who can deal with the capacity of where you are going. So I can say to you today, hey, if I had a boo thing, whatever the case may be, like, hey, I am working in ministry and this is what I'm doing. But I also know where God is taking me. Some things I don't know, God hasn't revealed, because if he did now, I probably would run. But there are some things where I'm very well aware of the track that God has me on. And so the question is, do you have the capacity to deal with what I'm going through? A lot of us, hey Patrice, we have decided to live for Christ, and there's certain prayers that we don't necessarily have to pray because there's certain things we've overcame. But some of the things that we're dealing with as women in ministry, we are dealing with spiritual warfare. We're dealing with things on a different level. And it's so important for us to be with men of God who can travail, who can intercede, who can cover us. It's so much bigger than just like, oh, I have this ring on my finger, blah, 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 blah. No. You really need someone who can deal with the capacity of where you're going. A lot of times, those of us who are active in ministry, we're doing so much for Christ, not just within the four walls, but outside. You need someone who can effectively pour into you. You need someone who can discern and pick up. She needs me to speak life into her. She needs this text message with this scripture. And you need to be sure that you're with someone who can do that. And if you're not, you will find yourself a little frustrated, like he should pick up that I need this, or he should pick up in the spiritual realm. And not all of you will be able to understand what I'm saying, but for those who this is for, you understand what I'm saying. And sometimes we have to let go of people who are legitimately amazing guys. They're great. There's nothing particularly wrong with them. They don't have the capacity at this time to hold you down spiritually. Knowing that as you continue to strive for Christ, you're going to grow. And the question is, will he continue to grow? And where is he now? And can he do that? And a lot of us, like I said, we know the path, but there's things that I'm sure God is going to present to me to do. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Not your average church girl. Do you think I really was like, okay, oh my gosh. No, I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't want to deal with drama. I did not want to be held to such a high standard that some people that I knew would put me at, knowing that I'm super non-judgmental to others. However, it comes with the territory of being a leader. And so it's extremely important that we look at what we're doing and why we are ignoring certain signs. And I encourage you, if you find yourself in the same predicament, the same cycle over and over again, make sure that you figure out if it's you. Is it a you thing? Is it a him thing? Is it a you thing that you need to change so that it doesn't become a him thing? And being honest with yourself. And the reason why I brought up the social media piece before is because a lot of us, let's be honest, we compare like, dang, like I'm 34. Hey, Brianna, if I get caught up in, oh my goodness, that's one of my old teacher coworkers from such and such school. She got married and engaged, whatever the case may be, and she's 22. Like, we compare our ages. We compare who has kids, who doesn't. We do a lot of comparison. But our story is our story. And for a lot of us that God is developing, he's not going to allow that man to find us until we've developed to a certain place. And that requires us to say yes. That's one of our first principles. It requires us to say yes and accept that we are chosen. And so it is vital that the person that we're thinking about being with, the person that we are with, the one that we're exclusive with, can deal with us, to deal with where we're going. And I wanted to remind you of that because you can't change anyone. When it comes to spiritual things, it is definitely time and growth. And so it's important for us to not get frustrated with someone who maybe they're just supposed to be your friend. Maybe you're not supposed to be in a relationship with them. Maybe you're not supposed to be exclusive. Maybe that's just not the time. Maybe it will never be the time. But it's so important for you to be honest with yourself. Because the last thing you want to do is say I do to someone who you know is not where they need to be spiritually to deal with your capacity or just in general. and then you get frustrated. And one thing that we can never, like, we want to be to the point where you can never say, I didn't know. So when you say I do to somebody, we need to be like, okay, I knew this. So this is what you took, right? And so again, be mindful that whoever you choose to be in a relationship with can deal with your capacity spiritually. It is so very important. So with that being said, I do want to, if you have not already, please be sure to contact us here on our page or look at our website, notyouraveragechurchgirl.org. He's on the way. In the meantime, pray and prepare. And this book, it definitely doesn't say that you're bound to be married. That's not what this is about. This is about us really looking at where we are to make sure that we are clean in the heart, that we're making better decisions so that when we're found, we're in a better place. And so in one of our chapters, we talk about the 5 pitfalls that we as women tend to fit in. And so it may be from, dealing with someone who doesn't have the same biblical beliefs, being with someone who doesn't understand prayer, not being with someone who can intercede. So there's multiple things that we touch on. And so again, it is important, it behooves you to be sure that the person you're in a relationship with, that not just now, but as you continue, they have the capacity to cover you in prayer and to be the support that you need as you develop in ministry and as you develop in your relationship with God. So I hope that this encourages you. For those of you who may be like, man, like what you said is right. I hear you, but this is hard. I've been with this guy for a while. You may have even had sex with this guy, whatever the case may be. We're here for your support. We have these candid conversations with the women of our ministry quite often. If you are in a situation where you're trying to change your lifestyle, but you're living with that person, let's just be honest. Like if you're sharing the load financially, it's going to be a little tough, right? But one thing I will tell you is that God will honor your decision. God will honor your decision and he will take care of you. And so if you need some resources and you need some support in this area, please be sure to inbox us. Please be sure to visit our website, notyouraveragechurchgirl.org. And there we will continue to give you more support of how to overcome these struggles, how to get out of these relationships, and to be healthy and to be financially sound and to be spiritually in a place where you feel more spiritually healthy. So I pray that this helps you. If you're in any abusive relationship, verbally, physically, we are here to support you, to carry you through, to pray you out of that, because you deserve the best, sis. Like you really, 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 really do. You're beautiful. You're awesome. And it's so important that you feel the love of Christ and the love of other sisters. I promise you, the women of this ministry, we are super cool. We are non-judgmental. We don't care what you did, where you've been. We just want to love you to the cross and help you repent, help you really gain a closer relationship with God. So I love you guys. I hope that you have an amazing day. And again, you can get this book through us here, or you can go to our website, he'sontheway.com. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Again, I am leading Lady Lockridge, and I always close out with letting you all know, when God tells you to do something, you better do it. And when you do it, he will provide the way. Have a blessed night.